What's going on, everybody? It's Derek again with Derek's Help Desk. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a Windows-based home lab, essentially simulating a corporate IT environment. We'll walk through setting up Active Directory, configuring server roles, and actually connecting machines to a domain. So quite a few steps, but hopefully by the end of this video, you'll feel a lot more comfortable with basic networking, domain management, and Windows Server administration. So just to help you better understand the general structure we're hoping to achieve with our network, as well as the logical steps involved from start to finish, I've created this diagram. So up here at the top is step 1, download and install VirtualBox, download the Windows Server 2022 ISO, download Windows 10 ISO. From here we jump to step 2, creating our first virtual machine as our domain controller. We'll install the OS, rename the machine, and configure 2 network adapters, one for the internet and one for the internal network. After that, we jump to number 3, install Active Directory services and promote to domain controller. We'll be using this domain name, testdomain.com, and then we'll be creating a new administrator account. From here, we'll jump to number 4, install and configure remote access server and network address translation. Essentially, this will give the client access to the internal network, as well as access to the internet through the domain controller. Step 5 will be installing the DHCP server and configuring the scope. The purpose of DHCP is to auto-assign IP addresses to our client users when they connect to our domain. From here we go to number 6. We'll be creating users from a long list of names by running it through a PowerShell script. And then lastly, number 7, we'll be creating our Windows 10 machine, installing the OS, renaming the machine, connecting to the domain, and signing in as a new user. So one step I didn't include in the diagram, I actually want to show you the power of group policy objects. So near to the end of the video, we're going to apply a group policy from the domain controller onto all the users using the client machine. We have quite a ways to go before that though, so let's head back to step 1, get a cup of coffee ready, let's dive into it. So just to get things started, you can open up your browser and then navigate to virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. This link will be in the video description, but just as easy to Google it, so up to you. And then what you want to do is download for whatever operating system you have. Mine is Windows, so I'm going to click that. And then we also want to download this VirtualBox extension pack. Accept and download. And this will just make working on our virtual machines a little bit easier. And then for our Windows Server 2022 ISO, again, I've included this link in the video description. You can just click 64-bit edition. Should start downloading. And for our Windows 10 ISO, for some reason they've made this a little bit more complicated than it used to be. But you'll see this subheading here, create Windows 10 installation media. So click download now. Essentially this will give us a media creation tool, and we'll use that to extract the Windows 10 ISO. Kind of annoying, but that's just how they do it now. So now you should see 4 downloads in your downloads folder. One is the extension pack, one is the server ISO, one is the virtualbox.exe, and one is the media creation tool for the Windows 10 ISO. So we'll start by opening this one up. You can double click that. For some reason this just always takes forever, so just give it a moment. So you can just, you don't need to scroll down, you can just click accept. We want to go to the second radio button, so click this one, create installation media. And then click next, and then again, click the second radio button, ISO file. Click next. And you can just download this to your downloads folder if you want. And again, this is going to take a little bit. Okay, great. So that's all done now. You can see the file in our downloads folder up here. You can just click finish. So now we have all 5 files. Now what we want to do is go ahead and install VirtualBox. So just a small disclaimer about VirtualBox. This will require a minimum of 4 GB of RAM. You can just install it to your C drive if you'd like. It only takes up about 300 megabytes of RAM. However, once you start creating virtual machines, this will increase exponentially. So each time you create a machine, it'll allow you to pick the directory where you want it. So if you don't have a lot of space on your C drive, you might want to put it on a different partition. So once you've installed VirtualBox and open it up, this will be your platform to launch your machines. All your machines will be on the left-hand side. As you can see, I've got a couple. Yours is probably going to be blank. And at this point, some people like to install the extension now. However, I don't recommend that, or it just doesn't work for some reason. So we're going to actually launch the extension from inside the virtual machines. So let's hop back to our diagram here. As you can see, we've got number 1 all complete, and now we're at number 2, creating our domain controller machine. So what you want to do to create a new machine is go up here to New, this little blue icon, and name. This is the name of our machine, right? So I'm going to name mine DC for domain controller -test. And folder, once again, if you don't have a lot of space on your C drive, you might want to throw it somewhere else. So I'm going to do that now. Create a new folder. Select folder. And ISO image, this is the installation media we just downloaded, right? So yours is going to be in your downloads folder. However, mine is already in a directory, so I'm just going to pick that one. Now you can click skip unintended installation and then go down to hardware. I usually go for about 8 GB of RAM. And then if you want to increase the speed a bit, you can increase the number of CPUs. And then down on hard disk, it usually defaults to something like 50 GB. You can decrease yours a little bit if you want. I'm just going to leave mine the same. And then you can click finish. So before we start the machine, we actually have to configure a couple things. So with your new machine here, right click, settings. You'll see these 4 tabs under general. Click advanced. For shared clipboard, you want to pick bidirectional, and drag and drop, pick bidirectional. Essentially, this will let us drag and drop and copy and paste things from our local machine and desktop into the virtual machine. Then what you want to do is go down to network. Again, we need 2 network adapters for our domain controller, right? So we can leave this one as is, but click adapter 2, enable network adapter, attach to internal network. The name, this will be the name of your domain, so I'm going to name mine test domain. We'll be using this again later when we're actually inside the machine. Then click OK. And now we can go ahead and start our machine. Click maximize. Should say loading files. So as you can tell, this window is still quite small. So what that extension is actually going to do is allow us to make this bigger so we can take up the whole screen instead of just part of it. We'll set that up once the operating system is done installing. So now it's going to prompt you for your language, time and currency, and keyboard. I'm just going to leave mine as default so you can click next and then click install now. Now, very important, it defaults to Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation. This is just the command prompt, but we want the GUI. So what you want to do is pick Windows Server 2022 standard evaluation desktop experience. Select that one and then click next. Click this box, then click next. And I'll pick custom. So this is that hard disk partition we set up when we actually created the machine, right? This is where we're actually installing the operating system. Click next. So this is going to take quite a bit of time. So if you want to grab yourself a coffee, maybe a snack, even take a short nap, and it should be all done in about 15 minutes. I'm just going to stop the video and we'll start it up once it's all finished. Okay, so now it's prompting you for a password for your administrator account. So for the purpose of this lab, I'm always just going to use the password 1. Hit finish. And now it's going to prompt you to press Ctrl-Alt-Delete. If you press this on your actual keyboard, it's going to come up with your task manager on your local machine, not the virtual machine. So to apply the keystroke to the virtual machine, what you want to do is go to Input, Keyboard, insert Ctrl-Alt-Delete. Now you can enter that new password, password 1. Great, so now we're on the desktop of our Windows Server machine. The first thing we're going to do is install that extension so we can resize this window a bit more. Oh, you can click No. So your server manager always just auto loads when you start up the machine. But what we want to do is go down to File Explorer. You can just minimize this for now. So click this PC, and you'll see that our C drive is currently empty. So what we're going to do is Devices, Insert Guest Editions CD Image. And now this should change to VirtualBox Guest Editions. So go ahead and double click that. And we want to pick VBox Windows Editions AMD 64. So double click that one. Click Next, and install. Should be pretty quick. And click I want to manually reboot later. Now something very important I want to highlight. We want to rename our machine now and not later. If you try and rename your machine after you've installed Active Directory and other server roles, you'll actually get kicked out of the domain. And then you'll have to reinstall everything, and it's a huge headache. So I'll just show you what it said to me. So on a different machine, I did that. I tried to rename my machine after installing those things, and it said, the security database on this server does not have a computer account for this workstation trust relationship. So I did not have access to the domain, and I had to reinstall everything. So let's avoid that and rename our machine now. So to do that, right-click Start, go to System, and click Rename this PC. As you can see, it has a bunch of randomized letters and numbers here. Let's change it to something that makes sense. So I'm going to rename mine to DC Test. Just the same as our virtual machine in VBox, right? So you can click Next. And then you can click Restart Now. So once again, you can go up to Input, Keyboard, insert Ctrl-Alt-Delete, enter password 1. You can just click X on this taskbar if you want. We really don't need it. Server Manager is going to pop up again. And is our extension working? Sometimes it just takes a second to start up. Oh, wait. Okay, great. So if it starts doing this screen tearing thing when you try and resize the window, that means the extension is actually working. Awesome. So I'm not going to fully maximize it like this. I'm just going to leave it a bit smaller so you know this is our virtual machine and not our local machine. Before we get started with installing Active Directory and server roles, what we want to do is go down to our taskbar, right-click, open Network and Internet Settings, and then click Change Adapter Options. So these are our two network adapters, our two NICs, right? So we need to figure out which one is the internet and which one is the internal network. So to do that, you can right-click, click Status, and then click Details. And as you can see, it provides us with an IPv4 gateway DHCP server and DNS server address. So we know this one is the internet. So let's rename that. Right click, rename, internet. And let's look at this one. Right click, status, details. And as you can see, there is no gateway server or anything like that. So we need to configure this. So we can rename this to internal. Now go ahead and right click, go down to properties, and then double click Internet Protocol version 4. And now we're going to be setting a static IP address for our server and domain. So the one we're going to use today is 172.16.0.1. When you click down here, it's going to autofill into this subnet mask. So this would be what you would call, however, so when you click down here, it's going to default to this subnet mask. However, this would provide way more IPs than we actually need. So you can just, on this third one, click 255. And then we're going to leave default gateway blank. And then for a preferred DNS server, we can type 172.16.0.1. And this would match our IP address, right? Something else you could also put is what's called a loopback address. So a loopback address is always 127.0.0.1. So this is just a way of referring back to yourself. So this IP address refers back to 172.16.0.1. So I just want to give you a little bit of details about this specific IP address. This is in a private IP range, all right? So I'll show you a little diagram here. So these are the ranges of non-routable IPv4 addresses, private network addresses, right? So class A starts with 10.0.0.0 and ends with 255. Class B starts with 172.16, and class C starts with 192.168. Maybe you've seen this on some home routers before. So these classes go all the way back to something in pre-1993 era called classful IP networking. We no longer use that system. We use something called CIDR notation. However, we still use these classes of private IP ranges for internal networking. So we will use this class B range for our domain controller and our DNS server, as well as assigning IPs using the DHCP server. Once you've got all those numbers entered, you can click OK. And now, very important, click OK again, or it's not going to save. And this will be your server manager. We're going to be using this quite a bit today. So if we hop back to our diagram here, you can see we got number 1 done, number 2 done, and now we're at number 3, install Active Directory services and promote to domain controller. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is click this one, add roles and features. You can click next and click role-based or featured-based installation. And if you had more than one server, this would give you a list, but we only have the one, so it just defaults. You can just click next. And now the one you want to pick is Active Directory Domain Services. With this thing here, you can click Add Features, click Next, 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 and Install. So again, this is going to take a little bit, so I'm going to stop the video and start it back up once it's complete. So once that's all done, you can just click Close. Now what we have to do is actually promote to a domain controller. So go up to this flag and this little caution symbol, left click, and then go to promote the server to a domain controller. So click that. Now you want to click the third radio button, add a new forest. And this will be the same name as the domain name you set up when you first created the virtual machine. So mine is going to be test domain, but also make sure you add .com. And then hit next. And for password, I'm just going to put password 1 again. Click next. You don't need to click this, you can leave it blank. Just click next. And this should auto load, just give it a second. There we go, it's auto filled, so you can click next. You can leave these 3 as is, and then hit next. Next. And then click install. And again, this is going to take a little while to complete. Once it's all done, it's going to restart your machine. So I'll stop the video and start it back up at that point. I don't know about you, but I'm going to go refill my coffee. Perfect. So our machine's all restarted. You can go back to Input, Keyboard, insert Control-Alt-Delete. And now you can see it has the name of our domain here before our administrator, right? Test domain, so we know it's working. So once again, enter your password, password 1, enter. Just minimize this. So now we're going to create a new administrator account. So to do that, click Start menu, go to Windows Administrative Tools, and then go down to Active Directory Users and Computers. So this will be your central hub of where you can create and delete users, as well as things that we call organizational units, OUs. These are very useful for organizations and corporations when you want to add different departments. You could add accounting, for example, marketing, and management. But today we're just going to make one called admins. So right-click the name of your domain, and then go down to New, and then go down to Organizational Units. And I'm just going to type mine in all caps so I can tell it apart from the others. Unclick this, protect container from accidental deletion. Otherwise, it would give us a bunch of annoying pop-ups. Click OK. So now that we have our new admins OU, right-click, New, User. So you can just enter your name here if you'd like. I'm just going to enter mine, Derek. And for admin accounts, the standard syntax for corporations is A- and then first initial, last name. So for me, it's A-D Megenber. And click Next, prompting you for a password. So again, I'm just going to enter password 1. And then make sure you uncheck this. User must change password at next logon. We don't want that. So unclick that, click Next, and then Finish. Now we're not done yet. We actually need to promote this user to an admin. So right-click, go down to Properties. You'll see all these tabs at the top here. Click Member Of. So go down to here, Add, and then type domain admins, and then check names. And if it's found it, it should be underlined. Then you can click OK, and then click Apply, and OK. So now we're going to log out. Keyboard, Control-Delete. And this is our old administrator account. We want to sign in with the new one. So what we can do is go down to Other User, and now enter the username you just created. So for me, it's A- dmeganver, password. All right, we're back. So let's follow up in our diagram now. You can see we have number 1 done. We have number 2 done. We have number 3 done. Install Active Directory services, promote to DC, and create new admin. So now we'll move over to number 4, installing and configuring remote access server and network address translation. So to do that, once again, we'll click Add Roles and Features, Next, Next, the same server as always, so you can click Next. Now we're going to click this one here, Remote Access. And click Next, Next, Next. And we want to click this one here. Click Routing. Give you this pop-up. You can just click Add Features, and it'll auto-check direct access and VPN. Then you can click Next, 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 and Install. This will take maybe 5 minutes, so I'm just going to stop the video and start it up again in a few. Okay, so now that that's all done installing, you can just click Close. We're not done the step quite yet. What we're going to do is go up to Tools, and then go all the way down to Routing and Remote Access. So now here you can see the name of our machine, and beside it is this little icon with this red arrow pointing down. You want to get that to go green. So right click, configure and enable routing and remote access. Click Next, and then we want to pick the second radio button, Network Address Translation, NAT. Okay? And then hit Next. It sometimes does this. It's supposed to show us both our network adapters on a domain controller. For whatever reason it doesn't, you can just click Cancel, exit out, go back up to Tools, back down to Routing and Remote Access. Right click again, configure and enable routing and remote access. Click Next. Click the second radio button, Next, and there we go. Now you can see both our network adapters on the network, right? So you can see it says, use this public interface to connect to the internet. So we'll pick the one that says Internet. And then click Finish. Just give it a second. And now you can see the arrow is pointing up and it's green. So we're all done with that step. So let's open up our diagram. We've completed number 1, 2, 3, 4, and now at number 5, we are installing a DHCP server and configuring the scope. So once again, click Add Roles and Features, Next, 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 and then click this one, DHCP server. Add Features, click Next, click Next, Next, and Install. Just like the last step, this will probably take about 5 minutes. Great, so that's all done. You can hit Close. Now we have to configure the scope. So go up to Tools again, go down to DHCP. Let's enlarge this a bit. So click this, and we want to go to IPv4. So right click, New Scope. Click Next. For the name, we hop back to the diagram. You can see our range is 172.16.0.50 to 172.16.0.250. So you can just enter that here. and you can leave description blank. Click next. So this will be the actual start and end IPs. So 172.16.0.50, 172.16.0.250. And for subnet mask, 255, 255, 255. Should automatically switch to 24. This is related to CIDR notation. Hit next. These are just exclusions, so we don't need to enter anything. You can just click next. And least duration, this is the amount of time you are assigned the IP before it needs to be renewed. So in a very busy place like a cafe, you probably want a much shorter lease. Something like a business, maybe something like 8 hours makes sense. It doesn't really matter for the purpose of this lab, but I'll just put 8 hours. You can hit next. Then yes, I want to configure these options now. This is the IP address of our domain, right? So 172.16.0.1. And then very important, make sure you hit add. So it shows up in this little box underneath, and then click next. And then if you did everything correctly, this address here should be the same as your domain. If it's not, you might need to go back and change your adapter settings. Just make sure this matches. Hit next. We don't need to enter anything here. You can hit next. Yes, I want to activate the scope now. And click finish. So now you can right click, authorize, and then right click, all tasks, restart. So now everything should be all green and we're good to go. So if we hop back in the diagram now, we've completed number 1, number 2 with the domain controller, number 3 with Active Directory, number 4, the RAS and NAT, number 5, we've installed DHCP and configured the scope, and now that takes us to number 6. What we have to do is actually add some users. We'll do this by running a bunch of names through a script. So you're going to want to head to my GitHub. So I've included this link in the description. You can just copy paste that into your browser in the virtual machine. But to enable internet on our server machine, what we need to do is click configure this local server. Go down to IE Enhanced Security Configuration. And click both these radio buttons to off and click OK. Now we should be able to access the internet. So go down to your browser. Start without data. Continue without. Confirm and start browsing. So now you can go ahead and copy that GitHub link in the description and just paste it up here. If it doesn't auto download, you can just click View Raw. Just close out the browser. And I can see it's in our downloads folder. So right click, extract all. We don't want it to go into this folder, so you can just delete that. That way it goes directly into downloads and extract. We don't need the zip file anymore. You can just delete that. So you take a look in here, you see a list of files. The only ones we'll be working with is create users and names. So for this file here, names, actually go to view, file name extensions. So the ones we'll be using is create users.ps1, PowerShell script, and then names.txt. So double click names.txt. And this is the list of so many names, almost 1,000 different names. So these will all be turned into a user. Go ahead and add your own name up there. And save. And what we want to do is go to Start, and Windows PowerShell ISE. Not regular Windows PowerShell, Windows PowerShell ISE. If it doesn't pop up in your preview window, you can just type in your search bar. And make sure you right-click, Run as Administrator. You'll know if it's the administrator version if it says System32. You want to do from here, click this little folder icon, and then navigate to your Downloads folder. And we'll select this one, Create Users.ps1. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of how everything works. I'm honestly a little bit green to scripting myself. Big shout out to Josh Madakor who provided this. He's got a really cool YouTube channel, especially if you want to get into cybersecurity. Go ahead and check it out. But anyway, so the first part of this script is, you'll see it's assigning password of password1 to all our users. And it's pulling all the names from the names.txt file, the ones we just added our name to. It's creating a new organizational unit called users. And then you'll see down here, variable of n. So n is the first and last name from names.txt. What the script does is split it into a first name and a last name. And then what it does from there is create a new user with the first initial, then the last name. So before we run the script, we have a couple things to do. So in the command prompt, you want to type set-execution policy, and then space, unrestricted, hit enter. It's going to give you this pop-up. You can click yes to all. And now we have to navigate to our script in the command prompt. So in Windows, you can just type cd space / and that's going to take you up to the root directory. And from here, type cd space users / and your admin account should pop up. / downloads / and then go into the folder. And then make sure you hit enter. So we can actually run our script now. So take your cursor up here to the little green play icon, hit run script, and then just hit run once. And as you can see, it's adding all the new users. If we want to take a look at what it's actually doing, you can go up to Tools in your Server Manager, and then go down to Active Directory Users and Computers. And now you'll see, this is the OU we created, right, admins, but this is the one created from the script, users. Double click that, and these are all our new users. So it's going to keep adding and adding and adding till it's created up to 1,000 different users. So as you can imagine, this would be very useful in an actual business context. As long as you have a list of everyone in your organization, you can just put it through the script and make them all a new user on a client machine. Great, so now that's all done, we can just exit out of that. And let's follow up at where we're at in the process. We'll head back to the diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we are on the last step, number 7. So we are creating the new virtual machine on Windows 10. So you can hop back into VirtualBox. Once again, we'll go up to New, Name, Client 1. I'm going to switch my directory here. ISO image, yours will be in your Downloads folder, but I'm going to browse to mine in the directory. Once again, skip unattended installation. And hardware, we can do 8 GB again. For the RAM, and I'm going to select 2 CPUs. And hard disk, 50 GB, I'm just going to leave that as is. Then hit finish, and right click your new machine. Settings, once again, go to advanced, shared clipboard, bidirectional, drag and drop, bidirectional. Head down to network, switch to internal network, and if your domain name doesn't automatically pop up, you can type it. Mine's already there, so I'm just going to hit OK. And then we can start it up. Just maximize that. So once again, you can see this window is really small, so we're going to install that extension again. So we make that a bit bigger. Just like a server box, it's going to prompt you for your language, time and currency, and keyboard. I'm just going to hit next, and you can click install now. So you want to go down here and click I don't have a product key. And make sure you pick Windows 10 Pro. Otherwise, I don't think you can connect to the domain. And hit next. Click I accept. Click next. And again, hit custom. This is the hard drive we created when we set up our machine. So click next. So once again, this is going to take about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to stop the video and start it up again when it's done installing. And we're back. So now it's asking you which region you're in. So it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to pick Canada. You can just click yes, skip. Go down here. I don't have internet. And continue with limited setup. Now here you can just type client 1, hit next. You don't need to enter a password, otherwise it's going to ask you for a bunch of security questions. So just click next. No, accept, no, accept, send only required, accept, no, accept, no, accept, no, accept, not now. Sweet. So now we've fully installed our Windows 10 machine. First thing we're going to do is install that extension. So if you remember, we go to Devices, insert Guest Editions CD image, navigate to your File Explorer, then go down to this PC, double-click VirtualBox Guest Editions. Once again, double-click VBox Windows Editions AMD 64. Next, next, install. So once again, click I want to manually reboot later, because we're going to rename this machine and connect to the domain. So now what you want to do is go to your Start menu, right-click, go to System, scroll all the way down here, and then go to Rename this PC Advanced. And then go down to Change. So once again, gives you a bunch of random numbers. Let's rename it Client 1. And now we're going to connect it to the domain. So click Domain. Type the name of your domain. For me, it's test domain. Hit OK. Now it's prompting you for your administrator password from your server machine. So for me, I'm going to type A-. dmegenber. Enter the password, password1. It'll give you this pop-up welcome you to the domain. Then you can hit OK to restart. And then restart now. Okay, so now we can log in. But instead of client 1, we're going to select other user and then log in using the username you made from the names.txt file. If you forgot to add your name to the text file, no worries. Just use one of these usernames and password1. So for me, it's going to be dmegenber, so first initial, then last name. And hopefully yours will work. And then password should be password1. Now we are signing in as a user who is attached to our domain. Perfect. If we want to double check that we're hooked up to the internet, what we can do is in the search bar type cmd, right click, run as administrator. Once again, I'll ask you to enter your admin credentials. And then we'll type ipconfig and then hit enter. So as you can see, we do have an IPv4 address, subnet mask, and gateway. So we are all connected to the internet. So as I mentioned before, I said I wanted to show you the power of group policy objects. So on the left is our client machine, on the right is our server machine. So we'll log in. So do these two desktops look much different? No, not really, right? So let's change that. So from our server machine, you can maximize this. Go down to your server manager, click Tools, go down to Group Policy Management. From here, you can double click Test Domain or whatever server name you have. Go into Domains. And now you'll see we have the two OUs here, right? So we are going to apply a custom OU to users. So what we can do is right click, create a GPO in this domain, and link it here. We'll call this one custom desktop wallpaper. Right click, click edit. So we'll have two different configurations to choose from, computer configuration and user configuration. We'll go down to user configuration. Click policies, administrative templates, double click desktop, go in here, click desktop, and right here, double click desktop wallpaper. So we can go here and click enabled. And then now what we're going to do is create a shared folder and paste in the path right here. Okay? So if you go back into your browser, we can go to pixabay, not Pizza Bay, pixabay.com. So this site is a great source of free sound effects, music, and images if you ever need them. So in the search bar, I'm going to type capybara. So what do we want? This one looks pretty cute, huh? So click that one, and go up here and click download. Close your browser. Now open your downloads folder. The image will be in here. So what you can do is cut that. Let's go into pictures actually. Right click, new folder. So make sure you don't put any spaces in this folder name, all right? I'm going to name mine use underscores, don't use spaces. You paste the image in there. Go back, right click, go down to properties, click the sharing tab, go down to advanced sharing, click share this folder, go to permissions, and then hit OK. Apply OK. Go to security, go down to edit, click add, and type in everyone and click check names. And if it's found it, it'll be underlined. Click OK. Click apply, and then click OK. And then click close. Well, actually, this is the path name we're going to copy. So you can highlight that, Control C if you're on Windows. And in here, we can paste this path name. But we also need the image name. So if you go back in, make sure you click the full name, including the extension, backslash, and then the name of the image. And then don't skip this. Make sure you click fill, then apply, then OK. So that's one group policy. Let's add one more. Again, right-click users, create a GPO in this domain and link it here. We are going to call this one no control panel. Click OK. Now, right-click, edit. Once again, under user configuration, click policies, administrative templates, control panel, and then we'll pick this one, prohibit access to control panel and PC settings. Double click that, and click enabled, apply, OK. So now we have two GPOs active. All right. So now let's see if it worked. This is our client machine. So we're gonna sign out. Go ahead and sign back in. Password 1. And as you can see, we now have a brand new capybara wallpaper for our client machine. If you want to double check that the other GPO worked for the control panel, you can just type that in the search bar, control panel. So you'll see this box that says, this operation has been canceled due to restrictions in effect on the computer. Please contact your system administrator. So we know the GPO is working, right? In a real world scenario, this might not make a lot of sense to completely restrict the control panel, but for the sake of our lab, I just wanted to kind of show you how group policy objects worked. So if for whatever reason you restarted your computer and the updates did not apply, what you can do In your search bar, type CMD once again. Right-click, run as administrator. Enter your admin credentials. We can type gp update space / force. Hit enter. And you'll see it says computer policy update has completed successfully. So next time you restart the computer, the policy should apply. So I really hope this video has been helpful for you, and hopefully at this point you have a much greater understanding of basic networking, domain management, and Windows Server administration. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.